The Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame recognizes Ohio's distinguished men and women who have worn the uniform of our nation's armed forces and then continue to contribute to their communities, state, and nation through exceptional acts of volunteerism, advocacy, professional distinction, public service, and philanthropy. The Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame. Nominate a veteran today.
Everett M. Woodel Jr., United States Army, Cold War. I'm actually from Northern Ohio, from Fremont and Sandusky County. That's where I entered the service, but I like to say I'm from a lot of places. So my father was an Army retiree, so I was born in Augsburg, Bavaria, Germany. So he was a Korean War and Vietnam War veteran. And so between two of his tours in Vietnam, I was born in Germany, and my mother and my two sisters were there. We lived there for several years before we came back stateside. But when he got out of the military, we traveled a lot, so I've lived all over the state of Ohio, but I still call Sandusky County and Fremont home. That's where my mom's family's from. That's where our small business for our family existed, and that's where I graduated high school. The instilling of discipline and love of country was, prominent in our house, and I kind of knew from an early age that I would enter the military. Did look at the Marines as well, but ended up going with the Army and went in on the delayed entry. My parents signed when I was 17 years old so that I could depart as soon as I turned 18 years old. So I chose 13 Bravo. I was a cannon crewman, field artilleryman, and was stationed at Fort Ord, California with the 7th Infantry Division. So this was the height of the Cold War, mid-80s to the late 80s, and we were still a tactical nuclear capable artillery unit. So in that process, there is a two-person rule. So to utilize nuclear weapons, there's a special weapons team that actually builds the round, but two individuals have to authenticate the use of a tactical nuclear weapon. And at 19 years old, I was chosen for that role. I left service and didn't stay in after a conversation with my father, who was retired. My father urged me at that time to go utilize the GI Bill and get a college education. I don't regret it one day. I went into the National Guard and then into the reserves, so I stuck around the military. But getting that education that was near and dear to my father and my mother, I think was the most important thing. Of course, from Northwest Ohio, you're either going to University of Toledo or you're going to Bowling Green State University. And I chose Bowling Green State University. There was a call for troops to teachers at the time. And so I was part of that initiative and actually I got my degree in education from Bowling Green State University to teach. I ended up doing all my student teaching at Sandusky High School and Port Clinton and so forth, but at the end I ended up going back to work for the family business, a marina that was owned by my sister and brother-in-law, and didn't end up teaching. I left the marina to take a position with the late Congressman Paul Gilmore's office. He had an office in Port Clinton where I was living. Actually got to know him through the marina, took care of his boat, and got to know his family. And his chief of staff, one day he gave me a call and he goes, "The congressman and I would like you to come work for us. And we want you to handle all of our veteran casework." And as a veteran who had already gone through the disability process, which was so frustrating for a veteran, I thought, it's a pay cut, but this is an opportunity, and I took that job in 1998. And that probably was the impetus, and that was the beginning of my public service career, because I jumped in, and over that 14 years, I can honestly say I've helped thousands of veterans obtain the benefits to which they were entitled. On January 20th, the President designated me as the acting administrator of the U.S. Small Business Administration in an executive order on the day he's inaugurated. So the very next day I'm flying to D.C. to take over an agency of 8,500 employees in all 50 states and territories. That was a tremendous honor to me. And then the President asked me if I would serve as the regional administrator for all of the Great Lakes. A tremendous honor. But this is the greatest honor. To be in this class, because it's military service is one thing, but your commitment to business or public service or whatever that might be throughout your career, that speaks to you and your legacy and your commitment to helping others. And for me, that's the greatest honor I've achieved in 2025.
Selection and induction into the Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame is a great honor. Nominate a veteran today